Happy episode 50 for your GG replay for Wednesday, October 6th, 2021. GG Replay is a Monday, Wednesday, Friday podcast where we break down the latest in gaming news, hosted by us, the Goodnight Groofs, a place for games and a place for goofs. I mean, we're workshopping the slogan, but you get the picture, you know? I am Paul. I'm joined, as always, by Matt. This is episode 50 of GG Replay. We don't really announce the episode numbers, but this is a milestone for us. It's our golden anniversary. And today, we hope that all of you will give us a golden shower. Matt,
Whoa.
how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Paul. I can do without the golden shower, but I'm doing well. 50 episodes.
You in great.
50 episodes. I'm proud of us, Paul. I'm proud. It's been almost 4 months.
It has been.
We started this around mid-June, and yeah, I mean it's almost been 4 months. So I'm proud that we're still going with it, that we're still growing slowly but surely. Thank you to all the listeners out there, and you can help us growing by doing a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. But you know what, Paul? I'm just sitting here relaxing. I'm getting into the Halloween spooky spirit with my pumpkin mug here. I love this mug. It really kind of sets the tone for me in October. I'm just having a good time.
I'm sitting here with my my real basic keep calm and carry on mug over here, which I don't really care about, but it's an old mug that Rachel has, and I don't know, it fits. It's the right coffee amount for me, so it's my one of my favorite go-to mugs. Funny enough,
I like the beanie there though.
Thank you very much. The Bad Hair Day beanie that I've got going on now. Yeah, this is I mean, I didn't shower yet, so this is what you all get today. The hair gets a little crazy if I don't do stuff with it in the morning, but I did pick up new hair product yesterday, so it will be back to its bouncy self very soon. This is not interesting to anyone. All right, especially audio listeners. They're like, what hat? That's how everyone who listens to the audio podcast does. Let's get right into the show. We have some interesting stuff to talk about today, including some cool games that got reviewed. Very, very cool. All right, moving on. Corrections, comments, previous show. We love to hear them. If you come across any necessary corrections in today's episode, send them over to ggreplayshow@gmail.com or head down to the YouTube comments below so we can address them in the next episode. So far, we have had not a lot because I think we're just perfect. A perfect 50. Perfect 50. We're 50-0. So
wow.
Come dock us down a peg. That's not true. We've had some corrections. All right. Moving into the reviews, because Matt, the reviews are in. I opened the mailbox and it was chock full of reviews.
Wow.
Actually, just 3, but they're thick. They're thick bundles of review. We'll start off. We'll start off the way you've done it here. It makes total sense. We got Rainbow Billy, The Curse of Leviathan. This is like a weird 2.5D adventure game. I think there's like timed mini game elements.
There's puzzle stuff, light RPG elements, turn-based combat. It's a mishmash.
It's like an all ages kind of game. Got a 79 on OpenCritic. It's out right now, which is awesome. I think it came out yesterday. Pretty reasonable score. It looks like a solid all ages game. I know, Matt, you were saying the art style reminded you of like those old cartoons.
Yeah, see, here's my problem is that it's like a rounded, colorful, modern take on the old Fleischer cartoons. So I don't really like it because it's like a sanitized version of that.
It ruins the whole the whole point is how specifically it was set up. Like Cuphead.
Cuphead did it so well.
Perfectly. Yeah.
And I love that there's a Cuphead TV show coming.
There sure is on Netflix, and I am pretty hyped. Like, I don't know if I care about the content that much. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but just seeing that art style in a TV show is awesome. I love that. It's perfect.
Just enjoying the art. Even if like I don't care anything about the story of Cuphead or the lore or anything. I know it exists.
Well, it is pretty funny. Yeah.
And for the gags and the animation, it's probably going to be worth a watch.
Pretty cool, yeah. So I like to see that. But yeah, Rainbow Billy looks like it's accomplishing what it's trying to. That's probably why it got such a good score. It's like a solid all ages game that is colorful and has lots to do and keeps kids busy and active. So it's cool. It looks interesting. Not for me. Not something that really appeals to me. I wouldn't have played this as a kid, I don't think. I get like almost vibes of like Paper Mario, but then like without the tried and true like RPG turn-based gameplay of
Yeah.
Paper Mario, so that kind of loses me out a little bit. Rainbow Billy. All right, let's talk about some reviews for games that are blowing our socks off. First off, we have Far Cry 6. Of course, we got our reviews coming in for this. It is out tomorrow, and it got an 80 on OpenCritic so far. Obviously, these reviews early on sometimes will shift a little bit, but I will mention we did try to like do a little poll in the Groove chat last night to see who would be closest to guess the review score. I did guess not an OpenCritic. I did guess an 82 on Metacritic. I feel like I'm getting pretty close. I feel like I'm in the close
Not
range
bad.
here.
Not bad.
And Matt, you were thinking it might get like a mid 70, high 70.
Yeah, mid to high
score.
70s on Metacritic, and that is what it is on Metacritic.
It
For
is on
PC
Metacritic,
and
right? Yeah.
PlayStation. Weirdly, for Xbox, it's an 82.
82, it's my number.
So there you go. Yeah, I this is actually pretty promising to me. Like I said,
Yeah.
I was expecting mid 70s, high 70s at best, just because I just think reviewers are getting tired of Ubisoft games that have the same mechanics, which is fine for me because I like that. I like playing the new Far Cry game every couple years. Like I don't play the offshoots. Like I didn't play New Dawn, I didn't play Primal. I did play Blood Dragon, but I play the mainline numbered Far Cries and I enjoy the hell out of them. And if it's every few years, it's I'm going to be maybe climbing a tower. I'm going to be taking out outposts, but that's I know that going in, and that's what I want every few years, you know? And so the fact that it's got an 80 on OpenCritic is actually good news for me.
Yeah, that's really solid. And again, I think a lot of these scores are based on like what it's trying to do, and it seems like it pulled off what it's trying to do, and you know hasn't gotten a middling score where people kind of go like, all right, well this is just another Far Cry game. It's like, oh, this is actually like a pretty good one. So that's good. You know, it doesn't need to be exceptional.
Reviews came out. I pre-purchased it on PC after I saw some of the reviews. PC, I'm gonna go on PC just because the PlayStation version has some online trophies that I don't really want to fool around with. I don't think that they're particularly difficult, but I don't know if I'm gonna like find a friend who I can play with. And I think there's one where you do have to find someone else. So I'm gonna play on PC. And I'm potentially going to review it for Goodnight Groofs. I'm not 100% sure yet. Depends on how much I can get through. But I'm going to potentially do that review. So look out for that.
Okay, we'll look forward to that. And we'll see how much it matches up with the average critic review score. Matt. All right. Very aggressive. Let's move on talking about Metroid Dread, the first mainline 2D Metroid game in 20 years. This one so far, it already has changed a little bit since I first wrote down the score. This got an 87 so far on OpenCritic. It is out Friday. The reviews are pouring in. I mean, obviously a triumph, obviously a tour de force. This is Metroid. You know, it's hard to imagine. Like, here's the thing. I think no matter how good this game would be, it's hard to imagine like a Metroid game unless it really, really, really reinvents something. Getting like a 90 something. I think 87 is a super great score. I mean, it obviously is, but I think it's super great for Metroid, especially too. They would have to do something really weird, I think, and change it up to get like a 90. And I don't know if that's what they were really trying to do here. It looks awesome. If I had a Switch, or if this were on PC or Xbox or something that I played, I would probably buy this game. I've been into like some good 2D Metroidvanias in the last few years. I haven't like finished any of them. I'm still like I've been halfway through Hollow Knight many times, but this looks like a lot of fun, and I probably would give this a play based on the scoring. But alas, it's probably not something I'll be touching for a long time.
The problem with a game like Metroid is that it essentially created a genre that has since gone on and improved upon that and done other more revolutionary things. I'm not sure if Metroid Dread is doing some of those things that it's copycats have done. Yep. So 87, definitely not bad. That is a good score. It's just I don't know if it's I assume Metroid fans it's probably in line with what they were expecting. I would assume. I don't have Metroid nostalgia, so this isn't something that I'm jumping at. If I'm gonna play a Metroid's
game, the guy from Smash Brothers. Yeah,
exactly.
They made a game for him.
Yeah, for him. So, so this isn't something that I'm jumping at. If I'm going to play a Metroid type game, a Metroidvania, something along those lines, I'm probably going to play an indie game. I don't
like
know.
a Hollow Knight, or maybe like get a little roguelite with it, try some Dead Cells,
Sure.
or play some Ori, or play something a little more,
This just feels like, I don't know, it's weird and it's unfair to say, but Metroid as a franchise feels like a sanitized version of the genre. Like it feels like a dumbed down version of its own genre, which is not fair because it created it, but I don't know, it just is what it is. But this is good for the fans of the series.
Yeah, that's like I was saying. I think it got an 87 because I don't think they really wanted to compromise on it being kind of like still having classic roots in the Metroid gameplay. And I think that's probably why it got an 87. It's like, hey, you did a really good job making a Metroid game, but like if you wanted to like really get a 90, you could have maybe like changed it up a little bit. Seems to be my vibe here. And they were like, nah, we're okay making it like a classic Metroid game.
I'm reading that parts of it actually get kind of intense and like dark, which is kind of interesting.
That I think that's a big like a trend for the Metroid games for sure. It gets like pretty cosmic horror-y, creepy Ridley stuff. It gets pretty creepy. So yeah, cool stuff. Love to see it. So that's it. So everyone, check out those games if you're interested. A lot of great scores. So if you have some kids, or if you really want to play an open world game, or if you want to throw back to 2D side scrollers, you have a lot to choose from. Let's get right into the stories for today, Matt, because I always say, let's get right in, like as if I haven't gotten right in a million times to other
segments. Yeah, we're always like 15 minutes into the show.
Let's get right in. All right, let's get into it. Everyone, I don't know if you heard about it today, but Twitch, special news for Twitch. Is it an event? No, all of Twitch has been leaked. Now, I will come from the outset. Might be worth checking your security settings, but this is not a password username leak. That is one of the few things that didn't really leak from this. There's more going on here. But this news comes to us initially from Video Game Chronicle. They first kind of became aware of an anonymous user posting a 125 gigabyte file to 4chan on Wednesday, calling Twitch a toxic cesspool. And saying they want to, quote, foster more disruption and competition in the online video streaming space, end quote. I'll just run through it and then we can talk about it. Leaks, according to Video Game Chronicle, include the entirety of Twitch's source code with comment history, quote, going back to its early beginnings. This is all of Twitch, how Twitch is built, and how to rebuild it.
Is that comment history like internal comments on the...
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's developer comments. Yeah. Creator payout reports from the year 2019. Mobile, desktop, and console Twitch clients. Proprietary SDKs, internal AWS services used by Twitch. This is really, really, really private stuff. Quote, every other property that Twitch owns, including IGDB and CurseForge, and an unreleased Steam competitor. This one's pretty funny. Hilariously codenamed Vapor from Amazon Game Studios, which is hilarious because it never came out. I like how you also caught onto this here, the vaporware joke here. And also Twitch internal, quote, red teaming tools designed to improve security by having staff pretend to be hackers. Pretty funny stuff that is also just kind of in there as well. So this is everything and the kitchen sink. Be cautious of security. It hasn't been said that there's a security leak in terms of personal security. I have to imagine that like things like username and passwords and things like that are probably encrypted or put in like a certain area where this stuff probably the only thing that's why that was the only thing that couldn't be grabbed for privacy purposes. But holy crap, this is everything, Matt. This is a big deal. What do we take from this? I mean, first off, it's kind of like, I don't want to like overstate, but it does feel like it's like an online terrorism here a little bit. Like, geez, like these like this user just grabbing everything and like throwing it on the internet is pretty rough, especially with this like toxic cesspool stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's not like an attack on users.
Right.
It's just an attack. It's an attack on Twitch, which is interesting. I think what people are gonna mostly take away from this is two things. One, they're gonna all change their passwords, and two, they're gonna look at the payout reports. That's going to be the most interesting thing, and I think a lot of people were surprised to see that Critical Role over the last 2 years has made the most money in subs and bits. Now, a lot of these numbers, they don't include a lot. They don't at all include like donations that are third party stuff. So there are people on this list who, like for example, Pokimane is further down the list than people would probably expect, but she is someone who's probably a lot of it's being made up in donations.
Yeah, different avenues.
Yeah, so it's interesting, seeing the numbers. Asmongold down at 14. You would have expected him to maybe be a little bit higher, but I think he's still doing all right. He's in the millions.
Yep, absolutely right.
It's fascinating. Co-Carnage a little bit higher than I would have thought. It's fascinating stuff. Obviously, it kind of sucks for the privacy of these people.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it's fascinating for us, but it's pretty voyeuristic. Like it's unfortunate that like I mean, feel free to go look at it. It's not like a huge thing at this point for us, but I do think it's unfortunate, yeah, for these creators who are having like their personal financial like not salaries, but like payouts be for everyone to see. It's kind of, especially when they're trying to run a business and everyone can see how much money they're making versus other people and going like, oh, poor Asmongold, he's not doing as well as we thought he was. It's like, what? Like,
right. Or
is this going to affect subscribers? Is this going to affect who's, it could.
Or if it affects sponsorship marketing opportunities for them because maybe a sponsor was like, oh, well, we assumed that this person was more popular than this person. Well, I guess that's not the case,
Right.
So that could be sort of a downside of things here. I mean, I think Twitch is still figuring out like what needs to be done here. We're still really early in the process of this whole thing. I guess just like you said, you don't really probably need to change your password, but maybe just change it anyway. Add two-factor authentication if you haven't.
Yeah,
and
Google just added automatically enabled two-factor authentication for like millions of people. If you had like already had I just saw an article on that today, which is pretty cool. If you already had like your phone set up, they're just like enacting two-factor for a lot of people now.
Yeah, they're also
pretty good timing for that actually.
And with YouTube, if you're a creator on YouTube, you have to have it. Otherwise, I think they just like turn off your YouTube account.
Yeah,
starting in a few months or something. So.
Pretty basic in terms of like usability, and it adds so much more security. So pretty awesome. Yeah, I mean, speaking of the jokes writing themselves here, like you wrote for the vapor thing. Sorry to take your thunder on that, but the Twitch internal red teaming tools to prevent hacking here clearly didn't work so well.
Didn't work.
I feel like
didn't work out.
Didn't work at all.
Gonna need to build new tools.
Everything is out. Yeah, pretty crazy. Yeah, there's not too much more to say, but I just mean like, look at the technology. I think it's gonna be very interesting for like software devs and people to like dig into to see how they built Twitch, to see some of these building blocks. Maybe there's interesting stuff here, how they work their AWS services might be interesting to people. I don't know if this is like, it does seem like some of it's fairly proprietary or interesting. So yeah, might be worth checking out, which is cool. Not cool it'd be better if they didn't have to have that privacy breach, but it is interesting now that it's out there. But yeah, last thing I was just going to say, Matt, what do you think of Codename Vapor, the Steam competitor from Amazon Game Studios? Do you have any thoughts on this like leak here?
Well, people are commenting about it as if it's definitely vaporware. I think that the fact that it's unreleased doesn't mean that it couldn't possibly still be released in the future. Maybe it's something that's still being worked on. I don't know. I would be surprised if Amazon wasn't working on some sort of storefront for digital games. It would be crazy for them not to.
I agree.
Everybody has one now. Why not
like
have
they
your
had,
own?
look when they have like they were kind of like early on with like the Kindle store, and having like a digital storefront where that is concerned, and you see that a lot of people buy games off Amazon and things like that. I think it would really make a lot of sense to have like your Prime account and things and all of that tie into buying your digital games for PC. I think that would catch fire a lot more than like they would have to than Epic. I think they don't even have to like give away free games. I think even give like a 5% discount if you're like a Prime or anything, a Prime something, or you get like a free. that is very tempting. I don't know. I might even like buy digital games like that because
I mean, they do give away Prime. You can get free games through Prime Gaming,
there
like,
you
which
go.
is crazy. It's like hidden, like people don't know that, but Prime Gaming, you can pick up free games. Like they have a bunch of free games available right now,
Right.
and Prime Gaming just isn't like. I only ever come across it when I'm maybe trying to like claim something through Twitch, like I
Yeah.
just recently was doing with New World, and so I came across that one, and this was like yesterday or the day before. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot this exists, and they have free
Yeah.
games available. I think there's like some sort of Battlefield game maybe right now that's free or something like
Sure.
that. So this is something that people should check out. If you have Prime, you should check it out at some point.
Yeah, I always forget about the Prime Gaming stuff. And I will say too, yeah, imagine like you're watching a game on Twitch being streamed, and then there's like a link to like buy the game on Amazon, and you can do it all within that account, all in like one go, and then launch it like side by side. There's a lot to be done there that is very interesting, and obviously it wasn't. I mean, Amazon Game Studios is something that's definitely being worked on. I think obviously they have a lot of money behind it, but I think it's still in its infancy in the grand scheme here. But I do think that buying Twitch was not an accident. I don't think it was just to have Twitch. I think there's a lot of tie-in that comes from that brand, and I think that maybe that could have something to do with that new game store. So we'll have to
So
see.
they have like 12 free games or something like that, but I'm looking at it right now. The three big ones that they have available this month: Star Wars Squadrons, Ghost
Okay.
Runner, and Alien Isolation. So those are three games that you
Good.
see them free on Epic Game Store or PS Plus or
Yep.
something like that. So it's not like they're low quality games that you've never heard of before.
Definitely not bad.
And
Cool.
then
Check it
in-game
out.
stuff for other games like RuneScape and New World and Valorant and Fall Guys and Dauntless always has stuff, I know. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
I
mean,
get that stuff too for like Game Pass. They have like the perks or whatever, and you always get stuff for like Dauntless and weird stuff.
yeah, so check it out. If you've got Prime, check out Prime Gaming.
Check it out.
I also
Here you
didn't
go, Bezos.
before all of this, I didn't know that Twitch owned IGDB, so
I didn't know that either.
I learned that
So,
today.
all right, let's move on. Talking about Smash Sakurai Presents final presentation here for could be for Smash Ultimate, could be for Smash in general. Dude deserves a break. We finally got the most anticipated Smash character finally entering the arena, the one we've all been waiting for, Sora from Kingdom Hearts. I'm sure if you've been following even remotely game stuff in the last day, you have seen this. Sora will be the final Smash character to be added to the roster in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's a thing. It looks. I mean, Sora looks to be like a pretty cool character. I know some people are like, another sword character. I've seen that online a bit, but also I think there's generally like a lot of excitement. I know that a lot of Western fans, there's a lot of people going like, "Oh, I wanted Crash, I wanted Master Chief," and you see that a lot on like Western media things. You see that a lot on Reddit, which is like primarily English language. But ultimately, every time there's a poll, a global poll asking what everyone's most anticipated or what character people most want in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, it's always Sora, consistently for years, even before Ultimate. So here it is,
Here it
you
is.
nerds. Matt, what do you think of this? Does this hold any interest to you? I know you don't really play a lot of Smash Brothers, but I feel like you do like Kingdom Hearts stuff.
Yeah, I like Kingdom Hearts. I haven't played Kingdom Hearts 3 because I heard it just wasn't very good.
Yeah, they've gone off the rails, but the classic,
Yeah, I mean, this is cool. I like the character of Sora. I love like the idea of Kingdom Hearts. I just don't know if it's always been executed super well. So
The lore is a disaster.
yeah, I mean, it's all over the place. I love the Keyblade as a weapon. Again,
Mhm.
I know people said there's a lot of sword users, especially with so many Fire Emblem characters in the game, and I don't play Smash Brothers anymore. I haven't really played much since Melee, just
Wow.
because I'm not
Yeah.
good at it. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna waste my time. But I don't know. It's cool. Cool for someone who doesn't play. This is cool. I like
Yeah.
Sora, so yeah, it's cool to see Sora in this game. I know it was weird. People were pointing out the announcement video, like there was no references to Disney at all,
Yeah.
and there were no references to other like Square Final Fantasy characters that show up in Kingdom Hearts. So it was
Yep.
just Sora. You know?
Yeah, I was reading a lot of conflicting things about the rights for Sora and these characters. Like Square Enix, I think holds the rights to the Square Enix characters in Kingdom Hearts, but I don't think Sora necessarily like falls under that. But also, like Disney holds rights to the Disney characters, and I think this was definitely a bit of a tricky thing to deal with. I think for Sakurai, but and the team obviously. But it's cool to see that it did get done, and it is a big get, especially because it is so difficult probably to deal with those rights. So it's cool. I think a lot of people have been wanting this for a long time. Yeah, it would have been cool to get Master Chief, but also, how would Master Chief play differently than like I don't know Samus, a lot of other things? It's hard to imagine. Also, rights are pretty weird. Microsoft has been really cool about lending characters. We saw Banjo. We saw other ones. We saw Doom, Cuphead. We saw Doom Guy in the newest outfits here, the newest Me outfits. There's a Gunner outfit for the Doom Slayer. That's actually now an outfit for your Me Gunner, which is pretty cool. So Microsoft is clearly playing ball here with them. I think that's why people even thought there might be a chance we might get something like Master Chief. But ultimately, I think that's a pretty big get, and it's a little out of left field for what they do in Smash, especially for a final DLC character. It feels like something that might be more of an early grab.
Maybe it's still possible that Master Chief shows up as a skin for Samus or something like that. I don't know if.
Well, so we're not supposed to be getting any more DLC. This is.
Okay. So this is
it.
Okay. I thought this was like just the final fighter. I didn't know if there would still be more skins or anything like that. But
yeah, it is the final fighter. But yeah, it's the final update here. The final Sakurai presents.
Okay. Well,
new stuff. So
no new stuff. No Master Chief. No Crash.
Stuff.
So everyone who wanted that.
Crash makes sense to me. Like that's such a I don't know. Crash, they do so many things with Crash. He's his own racing thing. Crash really has his own Mario vibe, and it's not like a Sonic thing where Sonic has his own Mario vibe, but he's kind of like heavily tied into Nintendo now. Crash is not. That would be pretty difficult of a grab right now.
And I don't really see Activision caring about sharing. So
yeah, I totally agree. Also, I don't know if Nintendo really wants to work with Activision right now. But you never know. All right. On that note, in related news, Kingdom Hearts games are coming to Switch as cloud versions. And no, we're not talking about the character cloud. I actually read that and I thought, no, we have to be talking about the character, right? This is like a thing where Cloud's in it a lot more, like, because this doesn't make any sense. No, it's true. All major Kingdom Hearts titles are coming to Switch, but will only be playable on the cloud. Obviously super disappointing, as the Switch is marketed as a mobile console, and yet this would limit the mobility of the Switch. Now, I think a lot of people are saying, hey, listen, this is sad because 3 isn't even that new. But people go, hey, listen, I understand 3 probably wouldn't run on a Switch without heavily changing the game, really like remaking it for the Switch, whatever. But the 1 and 2 remakes are PS2 games that were, the first one was remade, I think, as a PS3 game. The second one was like a remaster. But in both scenarios, it's PS3 games. PS3 games, guys. Can we not play these on the Switch? I'm sure you could go like, oh, maybe it's because they didn't want to break them up. I think the pretty prevailing idea here, though, is that it's just laziness.
Yeah, totally.
We can run them all on like a computer, whatever hardware they're running on, probably already can run them anyway, and they just have to map the buttons to the cloud interface, so they don't have to make them run on a Switch at all. So super lazy move. And I think it's going to result in a really bad experience. There's a lot of negative energy around this whole cloud version of Kingdom Hearts, and it's disappointing. Matt, I know you were saying you have a little bit of original Kingdom Hearts nostalgia, but I don't feel like this is going to bring you back to the cloud versions here.
No, I own it on PlayStation, and that's the correct place to play Kingdom.
I think a lot of people say that. They're like, PS4, I can play all these games and I don't need cloud. And that's not even that new a console, guys.
You know what? I reject this idea that Kingdom Hearts 3 would not be able to run on a Switch. The Witcher 3 is on Switch. What are we talking about, people?
They had to heavily change that, though. They had to go in and
they could do the same thing for Kingdom Hearts 3.
I know, but clearly
they just don't want to. Exactly.
Yeah.
They just don't want to. They don't want to have to put in the work. The fact that PS2 games, Kingdom Hearts 1, a pretty early PS2 game, by the way.
Now, Kingdom Hearts 1 did get a very faithful remake in the PS3 era. I did read this, so people think it's often a remaster, but it's actually the 1.5 is a remake because, but they did it so faithfully to what the PS2 game was like. It's hard to tell.
Right, but that was a PS3 game. I
Yeah,
think. So like,
yeah, it was.
what are we doing? The Switch, if the Switch can't run Kingdom Hearts 1.5, then the Switch has other problems. I mean,
Also, if the Switch can't run Kingdom Hearts 1.5, that's probably something to do with how inefficient and poorly designed Kingdom Hearts 1.5 is. But anyway, that's not the issue. It doesn't matter. That's not the issue. The issue is they're lazy and they don't want to port the games. So much so that they won't even direct port older games that could probably run without even really optimizing them, just so that they don't have to do fucking anything.
you would sell. Kingdom Hearts is such a good title for the Nintendo Switch. Okay, it's kids.
Absolutely.
Mostly. I'm not saying it's a kids console, but let's be honest here. Kids are playing
Of
on
the
the
major
Switch.
consoles, this is the most kid centric.
Right. And I'm not saying the Kingdom Hearts games are just for kids. They're not. But it's Disney.
But of a JRPG, this is the most kid centric.
Right. Okay. So you would sell so many copies if it was just a normal version of the game. This laziness is going to bite them in the ass. I mean,
Yeah.
Obviously there's some work to be done with the port. So but it's really not that much. It's for the most part, it's free money. Okay. But
Yeah.
if you had been a little bit less lazy, you would have sold so many copies. I don't get it.
I agree. I'll be really interested to see if we can find out, how much these sell, how well this does, and continue watching this unfold. Maybe there'll be a change in how this is announced. Probably not. I think it's pretty set in stone. But Square Enix, weird move here from Square Enix. All right, we're moving right along. Ubisoft has announced Ghost Recon Frontline, a free-to-play multiplayer shooter. So, Ghost Recon is now joining the free-to-play multiplayer shooter game setup here. This is a team-based shooter with 100-plus player matches. Oh, we love to see it. That's always fun. Teams are made up of 3 players, a little Apex Legends vibe here. But unlike that game, it is not a battle royale. Which, thank God, just give us something a little different. I really appreciate this breath of fresh air. I like playing a battle royale, but like we said with Halo Infinite, it's cool to see a free-to-play multiplayer come out that isn't a battle royale.
Right.
So yeah, the main game mode here, Expedition, it's about completing tasks around the map, and the map will not be shrinking, unlike a battle royale. I love that. I get I know it's not like a domination style thing, but I still love the idea of like going around the map, doing certain things, map control. Reminds me a lot of like my glory days of playing Star Wars Battlefront or playing older Battlefield games. I love focus like that, so this sounds really cool. I have not played a Ghost Recon game since Ghost Recon, I want to say Advanced Warfare or something. Like I think that's also a Call of Duty, but I think there was a Ghost Recon for that on Xbox 360. I don't know. I just always called it GRAW.
Yeah.
And I used to play a bunch of that because it was the only shooter I owned for a long time. But yeah, I will say this sounds like a hoot and a holler and a half. Matt, what do you think? Is this something you might get into playing?
Yeah. I'm interested in this, and I think that they made a big mistake with the initial marketing. I think people just assumed it was battle royale. As soon as they saw 100 plus player matches, they're like, "Oh, they're making another battle royale." Ubisoft is trying battle royale again. They couldn't get it with Hyperscape, so they're trying this again. And I think there was some other battle royale that they tried as well, and
and they have these like 3-player teams, and it immediately makes people think of like Apex or something.
Yeah, so I think it's a cool idea. I like the fact that it's not a shrinking map. It's going to stay this big map. I don't know if this is the gameplay mechanic, but this would be smart if this were the gameplay mechanic. Instead of having the map shrink, these tasks that the players have to do, make it dynamically change so that that new tasks bring teams closer to each other, maybe toward the center of the map or whatever the case may be. And that way you can incentivize the battles to take place without shrinking the map. So I think that would be smart. Hopefully that's what they are doing. Otherwise, they're going to have some system to bring players together. Otherwise, someone's just going to hide in a bush.
I think that makes a ton of sense. I like the idea that you're not forced into a smaller map, but also you have to make that choice, but the choice is not made for you. So I like the idea that you're saying maybe like initially some of the tasks are on the outer ring, they start to move inward over time until there's major test. And yeah, you can hang out in the back corner, but over time, another team's points are going to keep going up and up, and you start going, oh crap! Like if I don't go into the center, I can't win this game. Like you literally can't win if you hide in a corner because it's like point spaced or something. Let's
Yeah,
imagine
it
from the
could be
top.
that, or it could be
And so
like,
it's like, oh crap! Like I better get in there.
or it could be like your character has to, you have a timer and you have to get to this certain point and hack into this computer
Right.
before the time's up, or else the building explodes or something. I don't know, but
Sure.
you could have it that way as well. I just think they made a massive mistake with the marketing. I think on YouTube, I think the trailer is, the dislike to like ratio is ridiculous.
Yeah.
People like to hate on Ubisoft, I get that, but people also like to hate on Battle Royale, so it's kind of like this combination of things. But a massive free-to-play team-based shooter, I don't know, for me that's kind of cool.
I think it's really cool.
It's free. Like, what have we got to lose, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm down for this. It sounds potentially fun. And Ghost Recon always has pretty good gunplay. They're usually pretty good games. I mean, there are people that really like Wildlands and what was the other? I know that some of the recent ones stumbled out the gate, but they had been fixed as time went on.
Wildlands is on a big sale right now too. Actually, I think I know on Xbox at least, they're doing a harvest sale. I just saw because I saw someone saying that they wanted Wildlands to be on sale. And now it's like 75% off. So I don't know if other stores are going to be getting onto the same thing, but
I think it's
definitely easy to pick up.
It's the 20th anniversary of Ghost Recon. The if you go on Ubisoft Connect right now, the original game is free to pick up. So go do that.
Very cool. Very cool.
So this is, I don't know, this is cool. I'm gonna try it. You know, it might not blow my socks off. It might not be the greatest multiplayer shooter in the world, but I like non-battle royale massive scale shooters. So that's a thing that I'm into. That's why I do like Battlefield. So yeah, I'm down to give this a shot.
I love it. That's why I'm excited for Halo Infinite. Not massive scale, but I just love this idea. Free to play multiplayer shooter games. I think it's the way the game the whole genre might be going. I don't know if that's always right. I think some games might want to prefer to stay paid, and that's fine too, as long as they, maybe it's a paid and no microtransactions versus free and microtransactions. If it ends up being paid and microtransactions, there's a free one over here with MTX. I don't know if that's going to really work well for anyone, but I will say I like the free to play, especially when you see all of these shooter games milking you for more money afterwards now at this point. When you can pay nothing up front and then get milked for more money, yeah, that seems like a better deal.
Well,
so
that
I'm excited.
experiment's going to work here pretty soon with Battlefield.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm very interested to see that with Battlefield versus looking at, something like Halo Infinite where you have battle passes and, there is a way to monetize the game. But obviously a lot of it's from the campaign and things like that too. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see more games do this. I like a battle royale, but make it a mode in the general free to play multiplayer of your game, and let's see how it goes. I'm willing to spend. If I'm playing a free to play shooter game that I like, I'm at a point now, and I think a lot of people are, where I'll put some money into that. I'll buy some things. I might go, hey, I would have normally paid $60 for this game, so I'll put like up to that in it, and I feel like I might get more value out of that $60 in microtransactions when the game's already free to get cool costumes and stuff. So I don't know. It's cool. I like it.
Oh, where else can you find value?
Oh, where else you can find value, as we always say, is our Patreon. We have patreon.com/Goodnight Groofs. If you're feeling extra generous, we do have a $1, $3, and $5 tier. The $3 tier does get you early access to our all-encompassing gaming podcast, Game Groofs, normally on a Sunday, but you could get it on a Friday. Always good. So yeah, excellent value. All right, let's move on to our final story of the day. But right before we do, since I'm talking about value, something we really value is a 5-star review or a thumbs up or a like on any podcast app. Mac did mention this earlier, but I just want to hammer it home. It takes you about 2 seconds to open your phone up right now from where you're listening and just quickly give us a thumbs up or a 5-star review. You don't even have to leave a rating. You don't even have to leave a review or anything. It really, really helps us in the algorithm, and we would appreciate it immensely. We don't have a whole lot right now, so every single one helps a lot. So please do that. We really, really appreciate it. Moving on to the final story of the day. Pretty fun one, I think, for both of us with education in our souls. Discovery mode coming to, that's a weird way to say it. I meant like the spirit of an educator in our souls. Discovery mode coming to Assassin's Creed Valhalla on October 19th. This is awesome. Love Discovery mode. It's always super fun. I haven't actually, I'll be honest, I haven't actually played Discovery Mode. I've just like watched through some of the stuff, and I just think it's so awesome. I mean, I have Odyssey. Maybe I'll go through and play some of the Discovery Mode in that. I feel like it would be, honestly, Origins seems like one of the top ones for me. The Ancient Egypt stuff seems so amazing. I might pick that up just to play through some of the Discovery Mode stuff, but because the game didn't super grab my attention. But I love all of this stuff. It's so cool. Matt, you've played through some of the Discovery Mode stuff, right?
Yeah, I think so. I played through it on Origins. I think by the time it was added to Odyssey, I wasn't playing the game anymore.
Sorry, we should say too, in case anyone doesn't know, that Discovery Mode is the mode they added in where you can go around like their giant, massive environments and like discover like real life history and have it like walk through like a documentary or like a tour through history, which is really amazing when you have these environments. Sorry,
it's like a walking tour. There's no combat, there's no enemies, there's no fall damage. So you're just like going around the world, and it's like a digital museum essentially. It would be really cool in VR.
Amazing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a cool feature. This is one of those things where everyone hates on Ubisoft, but I don't think that they really get credit for doing this. They don't have to do this Discovery Mode tour.
Not at all. This takes a lot of effort, I feel like, that doesn't need to be done at all.
Yeah, like they don't have to do this, but they do. And I don't know if it even gets the use out of it that would make it worth it for them, but they do it anyway. If I were teaching, like if I were a history teacher, I would really try to find a way to make it work where I could use this in my classroom, because that would be such a cool experience for myself and for the students. I just think it's such a cool tool. I mean, part of what people really love about Assassin's Creed is these historic locations, and you do learn not everything's historically accurate, especially in Valhalla. There were a lot of historical inaccuracies. As through the actual game.
Yeah.
But they do really put a lot of care into these discovery tour modes, and I highly recommend it if you're at all interested in history or the specific time period and place of the Assassin's Creed game that you're playing. Give it a shot. The Origins one was well done. The Odyssey one, I don't think I played it. I don't remember playing it. But I would imagine it's really, really cool in that setting. So I would totally give that a go if you have Odyssey.
It's such a great utility, and it's so smart of whoever came up with that to do that, and awesome that they, Ubisoft and everyone like, encourages that development, because they created this massive open world that like maybe, well, the gameplay, maybe not every location is exactly realistic, as it shouldn't really have to be. It's not the intention of a video game. But, more or less has a lot of realism to it. It's so cool to be able to go, hey, we already have the world. Let's just like add a walking tour and some narration and like talk about the history of certain things. So amazing. I love that. And it's such a no-brainer ad, but I mean, it is a bit of a no. It is a bit, it does take work. So it's not just like it seems obvious to do it, but it doesn't seem obvious that it would necessarily get the money and attention put towards it. So it's really, really cool. I only think it's a shame too. It's a little too bad that like this was not available in older Assassin's Creed games that had such dense, faithful adaptations of like European cities and things like that. That would have been really, really cool. I mean, obviously these other ones are great, but it would have been awesome just to like walk through, Paris and have them, talk about all of the individual buildings and things. That might have like almost felt even more realistic, because it's like a space you would actually more realistically walk around than like giant islands or all of France or something. But I think it's all really cool though. But I look forward to more of that. I think I always mention this as being a really cool sell of this trilogy of Assassin's Creed games.
Ubisoft has built so many locations. I would love to see them use those assets to build VR versions of these Discover tours to then sell to museums. I think that would be really cool and a really cool experience to actually go into a museum, put on a VR headset, and be able to go through these tours of these environments as they may have looked at the time.
I'm just imagining a kid doing it and being like, why do I have a blade in my wrist on this? I'm just walking around Paris. Feel like, let's how they actually, this is accurate to how they dressed at the time. Everyone had a blade in their wrist.
You never know.
Oh my golly. Well, that is going to be it for today's GG Replay. I think we've actually gone through and done most of our shilling throughout the show, but I will remind everyone that we do have a whole website, goodnightgroofs.com, where you have our blog and our videos and all of our podcasts, including Game Groofs, our all-encompassing gaming podcast. And also, links to all of our socials and our Twitch, which obviously you can see how much we got paid out in 2019, which was nothing. We weren't even doing anything. I think it did exist. I think the channel existed, but it didn't have a whole lot going on. But yeah, we have that going on too, twitch.tv/goodnightgroofs. So you can go over there and subscribe, because we will be doing more game streaming in the future, and we always stream major events. But yeah, that's about it. Make sure you also subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we have a bunch of new stuff coming out, including reviews, which we've been already pumping out, which is awesome. And also some new shows that might be popping up, something to keep in mind. So definitely you want to make sure you subscribe there. If you're already just listening on the audio only podcast, we do have a video version of the podcast as well that's there if you ever feel like watching us at home on your big screen for some godforsaken reason. Matt, do you have anything else to say before we head out of here today?
No, but if my stomach starts growling any louder, it's going to pick up on the mic. So let's wrap this up.
All right, sounds good. That is going to be it for GG Replay for Wednesday, October 6th, 2021, 50th anniversary episode. Well, anniversary makes it sound like we have 50 years of this. 50th episode. We are celebrating with a wonderful golden shower, which I'm going to go take right after this, because I'm feeling stinky. That is going to be it, everyone. See you on Friday, and good night, Groofs.